the meantime. But Thomas's key backer delivered an impassioned prediction of what a public hearing would turn into.
Oh, it's going to be a field day. Read all about it. Tune in tomorrow, every day for the next 7 days to get everything and anything that anybody wants to say about Clarence Thomas.
The hearing will come to order.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Thurman, members of the committee, I welcome the opportunity to clear my name today. The first I learned of the allegations by Professor Anita Hill was on September 25th, 1991, when the FBI came to my home to investigate her allegations. I was shocked, surprised, hurt, and enormously saddened. I have not been the same since that day. Let me describe my relationship with Anita Hill. In 1981, after I went to the Department of Education as an assistant secretary in the Office of Civil Rights, I hired Anita Hill. Anita Hill was an attorney advisor who worked directly with me. Anita Hill joined me at EEOC. At EEOC, our relationship was more distant and our contacts less frequent. Although I did not see Anita Hill often after she left EEOC, I did see her on 1 or 2 subsequent visits to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And on one visit, I believe she drove me to the airport. I find it particularly troubling that she never raised any hint that she was uncomfortable with me. She did not raise or mention it when considering moving with me to EEOC from the Department of Education. And she never raised it with me when she left EEOC and was moving on in her life. But I have not said or done the things that Anita Hill has alleged. God has gotten me through the days since September 25th, and He is my judge. Mr. Chairman?
I have to tell you, from my perch behind him, I was just watching the senators and feeling rage towards them. And I especially focused on Senator Kennedy and the things that I knew he had done in his life, and the nerve of any of this to come out to a man like I know and I love.
Mr. Chairman, I have never in all my life felt such hurt, such pain, such agony. My family and I have been done a grave and irreparable injustice.
Thank you, Judge. The hearing is in recess for 5 minutes.
So then you left and went back home.
Yeah.
And then Anita Hill testified.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
Oh, God, no.
Professor, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Anita F. Hill, and I am a professor of law at the University of Oklahoma. At the Department of Education, Judge Thomas asked me to go out socially with him. I declined the invitation to go out socially with him. My working relationship became even more strained when Judge Thomas began to use work situations to discuss sex. His conversations were very vivid. When Senate staff asked me about these matters, I felt I had a duty to report. I could not keep silent.
This was a kill shot. We could feel it. So they were coming to destroy my husband, not just discredit him or differ with his point of view. This was the kill shot.
Can you tell me what incidences occurred of the ones you described to us occurred in his office?
Well, I recall specifically that the incident about the Coke can occurred in his office at the EEOC.
And what was that incident again?
The incident with regard to the Coke can, it's
Would
spelled
you
out in
describe
my
it
statement.
once again for me, please?
The incident involved his going to his desk, getting up from a work table, going to his desk, looking at this can and saying, "Who put pubic hair on my Coke?"
I was the one that tried to watch what was going on for as long as I could, and it looked bad. It looked like it could be credible. She was painting a compelling picture and yet coming up with different iterations from what we had been told her allegations were. So it was growing. Someone had worked with her, or she had found new aspects of her story that she was putting out there.
Are there any other incidences that occurred in his office with just in his office period?
There is, I recall at least one instance in his office at the EEOC where he discussed some pornographic material, or he brought up the substance or the content of pornographic material.
Again, it's difficult, but for the record, what substance did he bring up in this instance at EEOC in his office?
Well, this was a reference to an individual who had a very large penis, and he used the name that he had been referred to in the pornographic material.
Do you recall what it was?
Yes, I do. The name that was referred to was Long Dong Silver.
Honestly, it was a nightmare to hear about any of her charges, whether it was the pubic hair on the Coke can or Long Dong Silver. It was all jarring. It was all so wrong. It was so shocking. And I'm sure America was tuning in to C-SPAN, and it was horrendous because it was so untrue.
Then she told me what they were saying, and I said, "Oh, well, thank God. I know that didn't happen," because I'd never known. So yeah, I was tormenting myself, trying to dig through like endless memories. Did I do something? Did I say something? Was it a joke? And when they said whatever it was, they said, I said, that didn't happen. So it was the first relief I felt.
Why in God's name, when he left his position of power or status or authority over you, and you left it in 1983, why in God's name would you ever speak to a man like that the rest of your life?
That's a very good question. And I'm sure that I can't not answer that to your satisfaction. I have suggested that I was afraid of retaliation. I was afraid of damage to my professional life.
It just seems that so incredible to me that you would not only have visited with him twice after that period and after he was no longer able to manipulate you or to destroy you, that you then not only visited with him but took him to the airport and then 11 times contacted him. That part of it is a most contradictory and puzzling thing for me.
Adjourned till 9 o'clock.